A local cardiologist is seeing more cardiovascular issues as a long-term side effect of COVID-19. I'm Zach Dodge with what a local long hauler has gone through. Coming up.
Plus, a Marionville, Missouri man is dead and police say his suspected killer is still on the loose. And a Pitt State instructor wants to start a conversation about mental health through his art.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A cardiologist sees a rise in patients with cardiovascular issues after getting COVID-19. This is KOAM News at 6. Cardiovascular issues weren't as common as a long-term side effect until the Delta variant became the most dominant mutation. Well, he says most people make a full recovery. KOAM's Zach Dodge spoke with a woman who may not be so fortunate.
A year ago today, 45-year-old Jennifer Parks lived a fairly normal life.
We worked 48 to 56 hours a week. I took care of 2 kids.
But since getting COVID in November of last year,
I have to be dependent on people.
She spent 33 days on the ventilator and then 2 months in the hospital.
I had to move in with my mom because I had a stroke. I had COVID-induced stroke.
And now things have been so much different. She can walk some with a walker and has a number of long-term side effects from COVID, including cardiovascular issues like blood clots in her legs and feet.
My foot was on fire, my feet were on fire.
Freeman cardiologist Dr. Robert Stauffer explains cardiovascular events are becoming more common for people with long COVID.
Whether they're 13-year-olds or they're 70-year-olds or they're 40-year-olds.
But something else he's noticing is, with many of them who didn't have COVID pneumonia or some other major complication, they're getting better.
And some of these patients, they got really sick, bounced back very quick. Some patients with some mild to moderate disease, they don't bounce back as quick. And the one thing I just tell patients is you got to be patient.
It's good news for many, but unfortunately for Parks, since COVID hit her so incredibly hard, it's looking more and more like that won't be the case.
It's take this pill and take this pill until it stops working, and then we'll find something else. Mentally, it's a rough thing.
So she and her family laugh to get through the days and look at the positives.
You thank God every day that you're alive. I don't put off things because you never know when it's going to be your last day.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Dr. Stauffer says if you had COVID and you continue to have symptoms like shortness of breath and fatigue, there are some things you can do to improve. Slowly start exercising again, eat healthy foods, quit smoking if you currently smoke, and of course, continue to talk to your doctor. The number of COVID-19 hospital stays in Oklahoma is leveling off, but the length of time someone spends in the hospital is longer due to the Delta variant. That's according to the Oklahoma Hospital Association. State health officials say the 3-day average of new hospitalizations has fallen from 1,518 a day last week to 1,352 yesterday. But the average hospital stay has increased from 5 to 6 days in January to 10 to 11 days now. And ICU stays have risen from 10 to 11 days to 15 to 20. OHA President Patty Davis warns it's too soon to call the numbers a trend. Freeman Health System's Webb City urgent care location was forced to shut down yesterday because it was understaffed. We asked Freeman CEO Paula Baker about the issue at today's Freeman COVID-19 briefing. Baker says it was an issue with scheduled employees not being able to work, not a health system-wide staffing shortage.
Freeman Health System has been very successful in recruiting all levels of staff, physicians, mid-levels, nurses. Is staffing an issue nationwide? Absolutely, and there's a shortage of healthcare professionals. But I do believe that Freeman has always fared very well in that competitive market.
Baker says the location is open for business today and that the Joplin location was fully staffed and open yesterday. Some rain this morning, pretty nice day today. Nick Kelly.
Yeah, pretty much sums up our Wednesday for the middle of this week, Dow. After the rain cleared on out, this is what we've enjoyed all day long. Mostly sunny skies from 7th and Rangeline in Joplin, and most of us staying on the dry side this evening. But on the trailing end of the front, still It's falling apart in our southern counties. There's been a couple little showers or little storms in Washington County and Osage County out in northeastern Oklahoma. That's pretty much it, and you can see how those are falling apart even as we speak. So the overall trend is what we've been seeing throughout much of the day. We'll keep things quiet as we go into the rest of the evening. As far as temperatures are concerned, we're seeing a 79 in Iola already, but most of us still in the lower to middle 80s. And as far as the rest of the evening goes, we'll all fall back into the 70s certainly by 8 o'clock, down to 71 by midnight, and with clear skies and a nice setup in place now, we'll have levels dropping back to 67. We'll break down where we go from here later on in the show.
Catch you then. A 50-year-old Marionville, Missouri man is dead, and authorities are looking for the man suspected of killing him. Officers responding to calls of a disturbance found Jess Davis dead at his home on South Central in Marionville. Police say Davis had what they describe as multiple laceration injuries. In a news release today, police say they're looking for Jamie Godfrey in connection to the murder. They say he frequents the Aurora and Marionville area. Anyone with information should contact police. Authorities say he's considered dangerous, so do not approach him. The Central Crossing Fire Protection District in Shell Knob, Missouri says first responders rescued 2 people from a fire. Crews were called out to the home in the Stallion Bluff area for a fire. When they arrived, they were informed that 2 people were trapped inside. A responding firefighter, sheriff's deputy, and a neighbor took action and were able to rescue both people. One of the residents refused medical treatment. The other was flown to the hospital. In a news release, the Fire Protection District says, quote, "Our thanks to these men for their heroic and brave actions this evening that likely saved 2 lives. Authorities say they believe the fire was intentionally set. The EPA is working to take care of lead contamination in a Pittsburgh field. That field is on East 4th Street across from the Mission Clay Products property. A church owns the property and is working with the EPA and the city on the project. It's expected to take about 2 weeks. Crews will excavate the area, backfill, and then sod.
Testing. They did some testing, and there was enough of an indication that they said a removal action was warranted. So they've been coordinating with the local church that owns that property and some of the other property owners. And what you're seeing right now is the results of that removal action.
This cleanup effort coincides with the city's Mid-City Renaissance project. That's a community visioning plan conducted by the city in 2016 to redevelop the area. City of Joplin is doing a different sort of house cleaning, and you could be the beneficiary. The city is preparing for its annual auction this weekend. In the meantime, you can see the list of items on the city's website and view them in person Friday afternoon or for an hour before the auction begins Saturday morning. The items on the auction block include office furniture, computers, tools, bicycles, and even vehicles.
Some of it will be in working condition and some of it will not be in working condition. So when the auctioneer lets everybody know at the beginning of the auction, we'll start vehicles up. We'll kind of let everybody take a look at inside the vehicle, outside the vehicle, just make sure, of what the condition is.
The auction begins at 9 Saturday morning in the Street Maintenance Barn. That's northwest of the Public Works Center at 1301 West 2nd Street. Still ahead, a Pitt State instructor uses his art to battle with mental health issues, and now he's using it to start a conversation. And details of an expansion at U.S. Awards in Pittsburgh. A new exhibit at Pitt State is bringing a focus to mental health. Nature versus Nurture is the name of the exhibit by local artist Jared Jennings. Jennings also teaches art at Pitt State and has fought his own battles with mental illness. During the pandemic, a lot of people face unfamiliar situations that can lead to mental health challenges.
You have so many people that had this experience with depression, anxiety that came out of that whole experience, not understanding how to deal with it all. So hopefully, if anyone comes in the show and looks at work, they can kind of still get that feeling from a piece and understand that they're not alone.
Tonight at 9 and 10, we're going to hear more from Jennings about the exhibit and from a couple of Pitt State students. U.S. Awards in Pittsburgh is expanding. A groundbreaking today marked the beginning of construction. The company is outgrowing its current facility.
We feel like that we need to have extra capacity because as more reps come, they're going to be looking for domestic manufacturing of the emblems and the products that we make. And so I think having production domestically, the United States, is going to be important for quick turn and to provide the quality and the service that people are looking for.
This is the company's first expansion in 15 years. They hope it'll lead to adding more jobs in the next year. Later, Missouri Southern head coach Atiba Bradley talks about the Lions' most recent loss and trying to get the most out of a young squad.
But first, we'll break down how much rain we picked up from this morning and if we have any other chances in the forecast. That's up next. As advertised, the rain chances certainly ramped up late last night into this morning, and it was rain that we could certainly use and we certainly cashed in on, especially with that cluster of storms that came out of Wichita. That's the main batch of rain that pushed on through early this morning, and then right behind it, pretty nice looking day across the entire region. As far as the rain is concerned, with this system, ½ an inch on the average, but you can see plenty of areas picking up anywhere from ½ an inch to maybe pushing 2, if not 3 inches of rain. Again, rain that we can certainly take, and we certainly did, as before the front passed on through late this morning. But on the trailing end of the front, it stalled out just to the south of the region. And with the latest look at the radar, we were watching a couple of little thunderstorms in northeastern parts of Osage and northern Washington County and northeastern Oklahoma. But you can see how they're really falling apart. Everyone else is looking quiet. That's how it's going to stay as we go through the rest of the evening. And behind the rain chances, the front also delivered on a little dip in temperatures that we'll certainly take as well. Lower 90s yesterday. We went into the mid 60s this morning, and so far 85 at Joplin Regional. That certainly feels a lot better and certainly more like mid-September in terms of temperatures around here. Still looking great from 7th and Rangeline. Mostly sunny skies up top, sitting at 83. Only feels a hair warmer due to dew points around 63, but still that's tolerable humidity levels if you have any outdoor plans this evening. Near 80 to about 84, 85 degrees. That's where the vast majority of the area sits at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. From here on out, we'll go into the mid 70s by 8 o'clock, 71 by midnight, and as we continue with mostly clear skies up top, you can see how we drop back, mainly around 67 as we go through the overnight hours into your Thursday morning. Not much else to show across the entire region, maybe some more scattered storms in northern and northeastern parts of Arkansas as our front continues to fizzle apart as it drifts to the southeast. This front in the northern plains and Pacific Northwest, that stays mainly to the north. I don't see that playing a big role in the forecast, but the upper levels will once again. While it is nice that the jet streams are on top of the region, keeping temperatures closer to normal at least, as long as it starts shifting back northeast as we head toward the weekend, we will also see that result in the mercury rising up back near 90 this weekend, but certainly not to deal with any heat for the overnight hours, certainly for sure. Most of us dropping back to between 65 and around 67 degrees underneath mostly clear skies with a light southeast breeze to start your Thursday morning out. 83 by noon. I see everyone, especially Joplin, topping out at 88 for Thursday afternoon. And you can see how everybody, mainly mid to upper 80s, maybe as cool as 86 and as warm as 89, but humidity staying quite low. It's going to be pretty enjoyable for Thursday afternoon. Now let's get into the weekend with the future track. Any weaknesses in this building upper level ridge could result in maybe a random storm. I'm thinking Sunday might be the best shot, but even then, the vast majority of the weekend will be dry. But this will keep highs in the lower 90s for next week until we see our next best chance for rain with a stronger system by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And with that, if it passes through, fingers crossed, it could certainly feel like fall on the first day of fall with 57 Wednesday morning and highs near 81 on Wednesday. Before we get there, Dow, we got to keep highs at least in the upper 80s for the next few days.
One way or the other, we will get to fall weather eventually. It's nice to see it maybe on the horizon.
I know, it's always nice to see.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from the Missouri Southern football team as they prepare to hit the road this weekend heading to Central Oklahoma. And McDonald County softball aims to keep their 7-game winning streak alive against Carthage. Jacob Leonard has the highlights and more next.
The Missouri Southern Lions are back on the road this weekend, aiming for their first win of the season. Now, the Lions hit the road to Central Oklahoma on Saturday in Week 3. Southern is 0-2 to begin the season. Last weekend, the Lions dropped their home opener 21-17 to Northeastern State. Now, in that game, Moso had a 17-7 lead, but could not hang on, with the Riverhawks scoring the final 14 of the night. That was a tough lesson for a young Southern roster, but it's also part of the process for a rebuilding team, with 13 of its 22 starters being either freshmen or sophomore players.
It's not easy, but growing up isn't easy. Maturation is that process isn't easy, and I think the hardest part about that is you can't rush it. You can't sit there and go, man, you're a fifth-year senior. You know, you've got 3 years of experience under your belt in 2 games. You can't do that. And so the hardest part is sitting there and knowing you're gonna take lumps. You know, it's like watching a baby walk for the first time. You can't sit there and hold its hand. But they know they have to get better. They know it's gonna be tough. They know they gotta come in and out every day and put in the work to get better.
The McDonald County softball team is on a roll to start the season. The Mustangs are 8-1 overall and enter the day on a 7-game winning streak. Now, McDonald County tries to stay hot today against Carthage. This one, the first home game of the year for the Tigers. Now, Carthage scores first in the 2nd inning. Jordan Jones back up the middle. That scores Natalie Rodriguez. Tigers up 1. The next inning, check this out from Rodriguez in the field. Great diving stop. Throws from her knees to get the out at first. Home team still up 1. That's actually a 1-1 game now in the 4th. Future Pittsburgh State Gorilla Madeline McCall gets the strikeout for McDonald County. The game stays 1-1 until the 6th. Jordan Jones back up in a big spot for Carthage with a runner on 3rd. Jones delivers a liner to the fence and left. RBI double for Jones. And that was the difference. Carthage snaps McDonald County's winning streak and takes their home opener 2-1. The St. Louis Cardinals have won 6 of their last 7 games. Their recent hot streak has the Cards in sole possession of the 2nd wildcard spot in the National League coming into the day. St. Louis wraps up their series with the Mets tonight. The Cards are aiming for their 3-game sweep and their 5th straight win. That game just getting started with no score in the 1st. A little later this evening, the Royals hit the field for Game 2 of their series against the A's. Kansas City has won 4 of 5, including the series opener last night. That one begins at 7:10. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after the break.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Sergeant Archie Cash served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. His hometown, Joplin. And we are proud to salute Sergeant Archie Cash. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Jordan Nobby joins us now with a look at what's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Tonight at 9, going to have more on a new art exhibit that also brings attention to mental health. Also, testimony from Olympic gymnasts on Capitol Hill today detailing the abuse they received from a doctor. And some companies are willing to pay people to watch scary movies, but you guessed it, there's a catch. That, of course, much more coming your way tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Looking forward to that. The weather pretty nice. A bit warm out there, but not bad overall.
Yeah, at least we're not dealing with any rain chances for tonight, unlike what we had to put up with yesterday evening and certainly this morning. We'll drop back into the mid-60s overnight. We'll head to 88 Thursday. Warm, but we keep the humidity low. Same goes for Friday. Highs are 89. Near 90 for the rest of the weekend. And we'll focus on our next best shot for rain for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that overnight low on Tuesday night, possibly down into the 50s.
Keep our fingers crossed that we hold on to that.
Yeah. Final sports note.
Well, we showed you highlights from Carthage softball's big win over McDonald County. We're going to have post-game reaction from that game tonight at 10.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.